Have you ever felt a sudden, sharp jolt of fear that made no logical sense? Perhaps it was the sight of a tiny spider across the room, or the thought of standing on a high balcony. For most of us, these moments are fleeting, a minor blip in our day. But for millions of people, this feeling is not a blip. It is a powerful, overwhelming force that dictates their choices and shrinks their world. This is the reality of a phobia. It is more than simple dislike or a healthy sense of caution. A phobia is an intense, irrational, and persistent fear of a specific object, situation, activity. A fear so profound that it can trigger overwhelming anxiety and a desperate need to escape, even when you consciously know that the danger is minimal or non-existent. Understanding phobias matters because they are far more than just personal quirks. They are invisible chains that can hold a person back from living a full life. Imagine being unable to accept a dream job because it requires flying, or missing a dear friend's wedding because it's on the 20th floor of a hotel. These are not exaggerated scenarios, they are the everyday consequences for individuals whose brains have learned to overreact. The core of a phobia lies in the disconnect between the perceived threat and the actual danger. A person with a fear of snakes has a perfectly rational response when encountering a venomous cobra in the wild. A person with a phobia of snakes, however, might experience a full-blown panic attack from seeing a picture of a harmless garden snake in a book, or even just thinking about one. This disproportionate reaction is the hallmark of a phobia. It transforms a common object or an ordinary situation into a source of profound dread, compelling the individual to organize their life around avoiding the trigger at all costs. This essay is a journey into the heart of that overreaction. We will explore what phobias are, breaking them down into their different forms and examining the fascinating ways they can begin, from a single bad experience to the subtle influence of our genes. We will look at the specific part of the brain that acts as our internal alarm center, and see how it can become too sensitive. Finally, and most importantly, we will walk through the hopeful and effective methods that exist to quiet that alarm, demonstrating that while phobias can be powerful, they are not permanent. There are clear, tested pathways to regaining control and breaking free from these unseen chains. Phobias are not a one-size-fits-all condition. They belong to a few distinct families, each with its own character and set of triggers. These three families, specific phobias, social phobia, and agoraphobia, cover the landscape of intense, irrational fears. While their triggers differ, they share a common thread. The fear can disrupt daily life and cause significant distress. The most widely recognized category is the specific phobia. This is the classic focused fear tied to a single, identifiable thing. Think of it as a laser beam of anxiety pointed at one particular target. For some, the target is an animal: spiders, arachnophobia; dogs, cynophobia. For others, it's an element of the natural environment: heights, acrophobia; thunderstorms, astrophobia. This family also includes situational fears: flying, aviophobia; enclosed spaces, claustrophobia. This family also includes fears related to medical procedures: sight of blood receiving an injection. A second profoundly impactful family is social phobia, now more commonly known as social anxiety disorder. Unlike the specific phobia, this fear isn't about an object, it's about people, or the fear of being judged. This can make ordinary activities feel like a high-stakes performance: speaking in a meeting, eating in public, making small talk at a party. The fear is not about the people themselves, but about potential humiliation, leading to avoidance and significant loneliness. The third major category is agoraphobia, often misunderstood as simply a fear of open spaces. In reality, it is a much more complex condition. Phobias don't just appear out of thin air, they are planted and nurtured in a few distinct ways. One of the most common pathways is through direct experience, a process known as classical conditioning. Suddenly the dog barks loudly and jumps, knocking the child over. The child is startled and begins to cry, feeling a surge of fear and pain. The brain creates a powerful link: dog equals fear. The next time the child sees a dog, any dog, that feeling can rush back automatically. Fear can also be learned vicariously. We are social creatures, and we learn by observing others. Constant messages about danger can build anxiety that blossoms into a phobia, even without a bad experience. Then there is the role of our own biology. Some people are born more sensitive or reactive. This predisposition can run in families, suggesting a genetic component. Think of it like soil. Fertile ground doesn't guarantee fear. but a seed of stress can take root more easily. Finally, a single highly traumatic event can forge a phobia in an instant. The brain issues a command: avoid this at all costs. To truly understand a phobia, we need to look inside the brain, specifically at a small almond-shaped structure called the amygdala. Think of the amygdala as your brain's alarm center, like a smoke detector. It rapidly scans what you see, hear, and feel, looking for danger. When it detects threat, it sounds the alarm immediately. React now, ask questions later. This triggers physical responses designed for fight or flight. In phobias, the alarm is hypersensitive and poorly calibrated, treating harmless things like emergencies. It doesn't distinguish well. Shape plus movement equals danger, and the alarm is pulled. The thinking brain knows it's safe, but it's too slow to stop the amygdala's broadcast. It's like a smoke detector that goes off every time you make toast. Avoidance tells the alarm, "You were right." Relief reinforces the false alarm, creating a vicious cycle. When the amygdala sounds its false alarm, the body snaps into crisis mode with unsettling symptoms: a racing heart, sweating, rapid and shallow breathing, even dizziness, muscles tense, hands shake, the stomach churns. People can feel detached from reality, fear losing control, even fear fainting. When it peaks as a panic attack, the goal becomes escaping the trigger: spiders, heights, flying, or the gaze of others. The good news is no one has to live under the tyranny of a phobia forever. Effective treatments recalibrate the brain's alarm and restore control. The gold standard is exposure therapy, gradual, structured, and safe steps that teach the amygdala there's no real danger. Cognitive behavioral therapy helps challenge catastrophic thoughts. Medication can help at first, like stabilizers, while you learn skills.